Good evening, welcome to the reconvened meeting of the Bethel Board of Finance, 7 p.m. Today is March 1st. Let us start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very well. We had some unfinished business from last night.
Yep.
So I invite our first selectman in to continue where we left off last night.
Okay, two pieces of information. First, concerning fleet maintenance, account number 220. There was a question about the $5,000, and we were thinking, you were thinking that it might be a duplicate. It turns out it is not. The $5,000 is for incidentals related to cars, not including the equipment changeover, which is included in the police budget. And it's things like painting the decals on the cars when they buy them, painting the emblems. You guys run black and whites, right?
Yeah.
So black and white. The cars come in one color, so the doors have to be painted. And then it's also when cars are decommissioned and they're going to be traded back in, they have to be restored back to market condition. So that's what that's for. It's not a duplicate. So my recommendation is you leave that in the way it is in the fleet maintenance budget. And then with regard to police overtime, I had spoken to the chief, and there is plenty of cushion in that budget. And the recommendation that I would make is that you consider putting the cruiser back in, number one, so that the department gets the 4 cars that they need. And then you might also consider taking a portion of that money, moving it to the highway account, since how we had that goal to do that. And that's, any questions?
All right, let us address the account 220 first. And that would be fleet maintenance.
Did we close that out last night?
We did.
No, we did.
Yeah, we did. I think we did.
Yeah.
We left the police open, but we closed that account out.
Maybe that didn't happen.
We did because.
We reduced the $5,000 and the net figure was $371.82, correct, Brian?
Let me go.
That is 220.
Well, can I make a, because it was based on Bob's recommendation that they always turn money back in.
Yeah.
So he felt very comfortable reducing the 5,000.
Well, not only that, 2015-16 was 350,000, so it's already a $20,000 bump this year. So I think it's still good. I, as a member, would like to keep it where it's at, 370.
Why don't we,
Well, the bump, Tim, is basically the salaries increases because you had, the update for the contract over the last 3 years.
No, I saw it.
Well, historically, what have they given back each year?
I don't remember what it was that said on transfers.
So if you wanted, you could put that 5, you could just vote on that again, it's up to you.
I just keep it where it is.
let him,
Just for the police?
no, this is
No.
220 fleet maintenance.
Yeah, but the police maintenance in fleet maintenance.
Okay,
I can do the whole account.
Well, it's gonna be convoluted then,
okay.
and it's a much longer answer.
That
But
was
just
up 2.5.
Just for the maintenance for the police department, last year they gave back, over 10,000, and the year before that, 6,000.
Leave it then.
7,000 the year before that.
So
They
there's
were
still-
over
there's still-
2,000 the year before that.
When you order the cars, are you ordering them with the white wrap or are you actually painting the doors?
We're paying them now.
Yeah, that's what we switched to, but like the decals, is Kim doing that for you or are you working
We
with
do,
specialty?
economy sign, or they invert in South Street, which specialty uses to do, so we just go directly to the source.
And you, when you came up with your 16,000 for the 4 cars, did you figure the decals in that or no?
Yeah, the new cars, yeah.
So it is a duplicate in the sense that
PD's already figured it in the budget on the purchase of the cars, correct?
The only thing, I can't speak for fleet maintenance, but the thing I could think of is maybe their money put aside to repair those when they go bad or repaint them and stuff like that.
They do.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But not for the initial is coming out of when I buy a new car, I know that, 'cause
Right, but when what goes bad?
Well,
The decal?
no, I'm speculating, I don't know.
All right. Do we have a motion to leave it as it is? Do we need a
I don't
motion?
think we need a motion.
Okay, we will not address that. Okay, that will stay as it is. We'll go into police, which is number 360. That was left open last night. We did not decide anything on that. Could I have
I'd make a motion to, well, I guess, hold on, I'll make a motion to fund account 360 at, well, I guess I have to go by what the selectmen
Correct.
said originally. $4,410,744. And then we need a second.
Second.
all right, we'll open for discussion for the police department, number 360.
I make a motion to amend. First off, I'd like to return, and I believe the selectmen took out 31,975, but the real number would probably be closer to 28,000 to put a car back in. Captain, is that correct?
Just for the car itself, correct?
And we already have 16,000 budgeted for the changeover.
We took a change around.
We took the changeover and the car.
We took 31,975.
We included the equipment.
Changeover.
changeover.
The
Okay.
27 plus the 4,
All
we
right.
took 16 and divided by
All right,
4.
so I'm gonna make a motion that we return the 31,975 into line 403.
Second?
Okay,
And,
let us do that one first.
oh, okay,
All right, line 403, capital equipment, what we're gonna do, we're going to put the 31,975 with a 4th car back in, okay? All those in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. So that brings us back to the 4,442,719, correct?
Correct.
can I make another motion to amend? I would like to remove $106,000 from police overtime based on the chief's recommendation.
Okay,
Second.
okay, the police overtime now is 256, correct? You would remove 106?
106,000, the chief said he'd be okay with that, correct?
Yes.
So that would leave 150,000 in that account for overtime.
Okay.
And
So what is that bottom number then?
The bottom number in overtime would be,
150.
the bottom line.
No, no, no.
on
The one, it would be 150, right?
For overtime, it would be 150.
Yep, okay.
Any further discussion on that?
We just need someone to do the math to figure out
What's your amendment is to add what, how much?
We
No,
took
no,
out,
yeah.
we took out 106,000.
106.
So the net for overtime with the combination of the two would be 150.
150.
Yeah.
Okay.
just an overtime.
Could we vote on that, removing 106? Oh, question, yes.
Bob, do you have any idea what they spent on overtime last year?
We did that last
I
night.
think it was about 212 in total.
That's this year's projected. Last year was 174.
Okay.
But that, this year will be with an additional dispatch.
Yeah.
So that should clear up a lot of that.
Well, the other issue you can consider too is that you've had some police officers, senior police officers retire, they were replaced by juniors, new ones. So you got a differential on the salaries there. So the net between negotiated salaries and your overtime is probably still gonna be a positive number.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong, some of it was due to people being out on workers' comp. we're insured.
Oh, yeah,
So if they do run over based on the workers' comp, we'll still be able to move from just salaries because the money's already been budgeted.
Mhm.
So it's not like we're running a real danger zone here because, how many officers do you have on workers' comp right now?
3.
Three, so three, and I'm just gonna say 60,000, and that's probably a low number, that's almost 180,000 right there in salaries that the town is insured on, and whatever your number is, that if we do run into troubles, we're not gonna be able to budget.
that's right.
So the bottom line here is,
The bottom line, the new bottom line that we would vote on for overtime on 107 would be 150,000. Any further questions or comments on that? Hearing none, can we vote on that? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Bottom number on that account?
4,336,719.
4,336,719.
719.
All right, should we,
I make a motion to accept $4,336,719 for.
I'll second it.
okay. Any discussion on the new bottom line for police department, account number 360? Comments? All right, all those in favor of 4,336,719, please say aye. Opposed? All right, so the police is set.
So that was just capital.
Well, no, can we take the 100,000?
Make motion.
I make a motion that we take the 100,000 out of the 106 and move that to the highway for road. Would we do road construction or road repairs?
Construction.
What account is highway?
Highway's 240,
No, because it's not capital.
road construction is 401.
It's Department 240, line 404.
So if we could move that to line, you said 240, Matt?
Yeah, Department 240, line 404.
If we could move 100,000 to have that line reflect 500,000 for the road construction.
Do I have a second on that?
Second?
All right, let's have discussion on moving 100,000 to 240 highway department. Any discussion?
Sounds like a no-brainer.
I like it.
Okay, so that would bring us to 500,000, and the new total would be 1,765,407. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, 1,765,407. Can I have a,
We have to vote on the first motion.
okay, the first
Yeah.
motion of transferring. All right, so we have a transfer of 100,000, bringing that road construction account 404 to 500,000. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Now, we have to have a motion for the highway, the new budget, 1,765,407. Can I have a motion on that?
Make motion?
I'll second it.
All right, discussion on the total, the new total for highway number 240. All those in favor?
Yeah, hold on a
Okay.
second. I'm wondering if, now I know in the capital, so since we're in the discussion, I can talk about everything. There's 250,000 in there that, so that's gonna take 100,000 off of that, so it leaves 150,000. I wanna be weaned off of borrowing for maintenance, okay? So if anybody's considering voting yes on the capital and now paying interest on that money, I think we should put it in the operating budget and be done with it, and maybe just come to a happy medium and put another $100,000 in there. Now, that's gonna get closer to what this board and the Board of Finance and the Board of Selectmen have been trying to do over the last couple of years. And now I think that we're at that point where we need to get this here. We all know we need to get that number up there. And since obviously it's a year where everybody seems to be getting what they want because of the revenues this year, I think this is the best time to sneak. And it sounds like we're gonna sneak it into the budget. And I think it would be the best year to do it.
All right, any other comments?
Well, I'd just be curious as to if we remove 250 from capital, you're saying, and move 100,000 of that into operating here, what's that do to the mill rate and in terms of the budget from where we were just at? Because as of last night, we had a reduction in the mill rate. Are we now going to an increase in the mill rate by doing that?
Could we figure that out, please?
Right now, as it stands, before you do anything else, the proposed mill rate would be 32.17, so it'd be a reduction of 0.01, because the current mill rate's 32.18.
So if you add
If you added 100 to it, your proposed mill rate would be 32.23, an increase of 0.05.
Can I ask, last night we were at 02 and we just reduced.
Yeah, but you added back the car, you took 106 out, you added 31, so your
Okay,
net
so
was
we added,
75, then you added 100. So you actually added to the budget by 25 or 30.
I mean, personally, this year, I feel we've increased it 200,000, and I kind of like the fact that we're reducing the mill rate. I think that it shows that we're keeping spending not to exceed the growth in the grant list, and I think that's a good message to send. And I think I totally respect what you're saying, Tim, I do. But to me, it's about, that's where the grant list was, and we didn't exceed the spending in the grant list, and I think that's a great thing. I think that says we're doing our job. And let's face it, we went from almost having to bond, what, 875,000, and we're down to 250? And that's if you even take the money, right?
Yeah,
Might not
there's
even
no
take that
guarantee that you're.
But that's what I was gonna bring up, like last year, we didn't borrow that $1,038,000. If you leave the 250 in the capital plan for the roads, and we don't need it, it's been approved, we can always have a meeting and then a public hearing to put that back into the general fund at that point. Or
And
to
we
move
still
it to
have
some other project.
500,000.
Yeah, you increase your budget by 2.5 times, so you're good.
Cynthia?
I like that it's going in the right direction, that it demonstrates, an intention, and, I think it might be too much to do it all at once, and especially to have an increase in the mill rate. I think it's gonna send a dangerous message, because I want this budget to pay.
I personally think the budget's gonna pass,
It
but
probably
we gotta remember, it's not a zero increase in the budget,
We know that.
okay? It's the mill rate thing. But it's not like we're not getting something for it. You know, I think,
I agree.
I think we're also, now all of a sudden, we're starting to backtrack the board on the thinking of what it has been in the past on the infrastructure, especially on the roads.
Well,
So I think this is the best time, because we have never been in this position in the last 7 years where we can even think about taking 100,000 and putting it into something, let alone 200 or 300,000, and adding a lot of things back into, and adding headcount to the town. So, again, I realize what you're saying, you know, it's the mill rate. Quite frankly, the mill rate to me, the thing that to me is how much the budget is still increasing. It's almost, I don't wanna say smoke and mirrors, because most people are gonna go, wow, it's 0%, but it's still going up over $1 million.
Don't be pissing my mill
Rick,
rate.
but what I'm trying to say to them is the message we're sending.
I understand what you're saying.
Don't exceed the growth in the grant list. And I think that's the message that's important, and if we are able to continue to do that, and you chop at it at little bites, eventually, long-term coupled with reevaluation, we can actually have a meaningful impact. And we won't be in a position where we need to gobble everything up that we take in terms of, you know, the growth in the grant list, and we could actually see some really meaningful savings, hopefully. I mean, we never thought we'd be here, right?
Historically, where's money always been cut in this budget when things didn't pass?
Road construction. However,
That's just enough said on that.
However,
you know, so
last
it's
year-
it's gonna happen when we're getting those positions again. It is rosy this year, it still is.
last year we
And I
had
agree.
200,000, correct?
Correct.
We're going to 500,000, so that's 2.5 times. If we leave the other money in the capital account, if we need it, we can use it.
Yeah.
I think 2.5 times, you know, I realize
If
that.
next year is the same as this year, hopefully, we can move that up to 750.
We're gonna have $800,000 in revenue
Yeah,
you're
I'm
predicting
worried
next
that
year?
it's not
What-
gonna be
what-
the same.
When was the last time we had $800,000 in revenue?
Last year?
Before that.
Well,
There you
but
go.
you still
It's-
got
it's-
Stony
that-
Hill.
And that's the only reason that
I know
this
that.
year is rosy,
But
is
you've
because
got-
last year was 800,000.
Right.
It's gonna be to the point where there's not gonna be places for these huge, these big building constructions happening in Bethel anymore.
But there are some
It's-
big projects scheduled, some
You know,
You still
so
got,
it
you
is-
still got Stony Hill going on. There's a lot of construction that's gonna take place.
Listen, it's, everybody can vote the way they want to vote. right? So-
But all I'm saying for next year, it's easy. If we don't have it, there's no increase in headcount. And you just make it very simple. You don't have
No,
those
but that-
headcount
yeah.
increases, then you just say no.
All right.
To Brian,
Okay, Bill, you have a comment, Bill?
Yeah, I'm supporting Ken's position on this because this has been a combination of more revenue and a reduction primarily in the Board of Ed budget, in terms of, the benefit accounts, the health insurance. We're not gonna see that next year. And we need to get this up to $800,000 to $900,000 on an ongoing basis, or we're gonna be 10 to 15 years from now, we're gonna be right back where we were 5 years ago. And I think it's too much of a shock, and the shock value will not be so great this year. So that's why I'm sorry. And it also pays as you go. We gotta start doing this. But it should be.
All right, so
I just think this is the first,
I want
I'm
to ask
sorry.
Bob a question. So if we did it, gradually and we didn't put it all into the operating, would next year, would you predict that we'd be able to put some in or the rest of it or would it?
Well, I mean, you'd be starting at the $500,000 mark if you had 500 this year. And if next year you're able to make an additional 100 or 150, you can inch your way back up to 900,000 or whatever the desired number happens to be.
So it just seems within a span of 3 years or so, we will be there. And the perception, personally, I want the perception of this board to be a thinking board that's not like guns a-blazing in the saloon, we're thinking and, I just think it's an important part, that's what this is an important point. And we want to send a message, that's all.
Okay, did you have,
My only point is, I know I'm not part of this, but you have right now over $900,000 in existing road account.
that's what we have?
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta have
There's
it.
There's 950 available, plus you got 500,000 in, the budget, so that's 1,450,000. Then the 250,000 in the capital plan, you don't even have to approve that at this point, you can take it out and reduce the capital plan. And if it's needed later on or next year, then we can come back and say,
My
okay,
point is, this is the best time in the last 7 years I've sat in this seat, by far, that you can actually get this account up to where, or even closer to where it should be. It's still not, it's probably maybe at half of where it should be. Maybe at 500,000, maybe, maybe it's a little over half. Half, that's it, half.
If we were,
And that was after bonding them was, $8 million.
if we were gonna remove the 250 from the capital, what is the savings in terms of?
there is no savings because you didn't borrow the money, there's no interest charge, so.
Right, so it's kind of, again, I respect your opinion, I'm gonna stand by mine where I'd like to see a reduction in the mill rate.
I think you get the best of both worlds.
Yes, Bob?
What's driving, is it just the message that's driving the desire? to have
It's not the message, it's my principle. If, we always say, if your household, and I hear it every day, and I've heard it from people on this board and other boards, if you make 100,000 a year, you don't go out and spend 120,000. So this year, we had an increase in our salary of 800,000, and we're limiting our spending to under what our household took in, and we still have the cushion, if we need it, of basically almost interest-free money in the short-term rates. Take advantage of it now while we can. And hopefully, we're not even gonna use it, and it's gonna be, it's just there. It's just my principles, the way I choose to lead my life, and it was a message that I told people that, look, I wanna control spending to within the growth, within the grant list. And this is a great way to do it this year.
Cynthia?
The way I look at it is it's if, okay, so this year I still made the same amount of money, but I got a $20,000 insurance settlement. I'm gonna have that $20,000, we're not gonna have it next year, not gonna have it the year after that.
But you also increase headcount too, so you could actually put it towards that too.
in my
So
house.
so to me, that's an argument that doesn't, because this is just another way, you're just bringing this budget, because we added some headcount this year, okay? That headcount's gonna be there next year now. So that's another expense that, so you're saying that you're not gonna live without your means because you got a bonus, I understand that, but I don't know, I just think that this is the way I would run it. Because you're gonna start off at a basing, and I'm not looking for, I don't have any set ideas that it has to be a mill rate, which I know you do, which is fine, that's your, your prerogative, but,
That's
I
not
just
saying no
think-
rate, I'm just saying, I don't wanna exceed the grand list. What the grand list grew, I don't wanna exceed that, and by bumping that up,
but what's gonna happen though later, down the road, I don't know either, but I know we got to a better spot by doing it the way we
No, but
do it.
I'll say this, down the road,
Yeah.
like I said, next year, if you only have a $300,000 increase in the grand list, I'll go on record saying, forget about a headcount increase, it's not happening this year, and look at attrition. I mean, it's, everyone who asked for a headcount, we all agreed, they made their case and we agreed with it. It doesn't, fine, but it doesn't mean though, just because they got the increase in the headcount, that I need to take another 250. I think we've done really well by highway, and I bet highway's gonna be pretty happy to see 500,000 headcount. I say we go.
No, just-
No, I'm done, go ahead.
Bob, I think you stated this, I just want to make sure I'm understanding. If we put the 250 into the capital, there's no interest charge on that, so.
Well, we would do, like I did last year, I didn't borrow money. When we need it, I would borrow it. But once you have the approval, I can borrow the money. But if there's no need for it, because at this point you would have $1,450,000. I mean,
You're not anticipating needing it.
I didn't borrow $1 million last year, I'll borrow it now in May to cover the bills that, are gonna be coming up. We funded about 200,000 out of that $1 million so far. We have the general fund to support that. Years ago, we didn't have that.
So you're gonna bond, I know it was
Approved last year.
Approved last year.
Right.
But now we're gonna bond money.
Now we will.
But by doing it the way I'm doing it, trying to bump that up, we wouldn't be bonding money. So now we're actually gonna be paying interest on money for this year's, where
If we
no, we are. No.
We
That's for next
200,000
year.
of that,
At
$1
this current budget, we're bonding money for road construction.
That was
Okay?
approved last year though.
Exactly. But moving forward, this board's been trying to wean off of that bonding for maintenance things. This is a
And
maintenance.
this shows that we are
Well,
weaning
I'm
off
just,
it.
110,000 of that bond was money that the school was willing to pay for their parking lot. We bonded that. I just wanna make that point. We can't have it both ways. The school had the money there, we decided to bond that.
That's a little gray.
In your
That's
mind,
not the way
in
that
my
I-
mind.
We haven't gotten to that point. Okay. If you wanna say,
I was just gonna point out, just for your consideration, with the heavy-duty road construction, really, the financial markets don't consider that maintenance. If you put up a building, that's a capital expense, and in 20 years, it's gonna need maintenance. When you're doing full-depth road reconstruction, that's a 20-year project, that's a 20-year lifespan or more. So that's why it's acceptable and common practice to go ahead and do that on borrowed money, because you're stretching that out. Now, when you're doing overlays and potholes, absolutely, that's maintenance, you're right.
I don't wanna rehash this, because we're gonna keep rehashing this whole thing. But if we were to go back 5 years, when we all talked about the $8.5 million to do this, it was $8.5 million. Okay? Now, I don't wanna say you're changing hats, but now you're saying, well, now if we go a little bit farther, we should keep bonding it instead of trying to get back into the. To me, that's the way what I just understood.
I did not say that, but.
That's the way I understood it.
No, it's-
Gary? All right, so, we have a choice.
Well, you have a
Well, no,
motion
no,
on
there's
the
a
floor.
motion on
Well,
There's
the
a motion
motion is on the
bottom
floor.
line.
To vote on the bottom line, the way it is, and that would include 500,000 in the road construction. And then we get into capital at another point, all right? So, the motion on the floor, and it has been seconded to go with the highway department at 1,765,407. All those in favor of that, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Raise your hands. Four.
Okay.
So it passes.
Yeah.
That's fine. I listened to 500, I'm happy with that. I spent the 400.
Okay. So,
The people have been on the board.
Oh, with that?
Sometimes they were on the board.
The old timers.
let us
Yeah.
open,
I know, that's kind of odd, isn't it?
Sometimes we go back to new
okay, yes, okay,
Yeah, you have to do the entire bottom line.
We did, that was what we just.
all right. We're gonna vote on the bottom line now, if we could have that amount, please.
Alright, well, first you have to vote on the total town.
1 second, I gotta find out where my last page is.
Total town, what's that?
Total town.
I'm gonna give you the number.
All right, hold on 1 second. It's wherever you put it.
Exactly.
Okay, Brad,
The total town is 27,663,867. So that's the town operating budget, Board of Ed maintenance, and debt service.
okay, and that is an increase of how much over last year?
It is an increase of 0.5%.
0.5?
Yeah. It works out to be $160,000.
160,000 more than last year.
Correct.
Okay.
Exactly?
No, it's, I don't know.
Okay. That's fine.
You're doing it? All right. 27,663,867 on the town side of the budget. Can I have a motion on that?
Motion to approve, 27,663,67 off the town budget.
Seconds?
Okay, let's open up on discussion for the final go around on this for the town portion of the budget. Any discussion, comments?
I just wanna,
This makes the mill rate increase zero.
Well, you gotta.
Or
You gotta technically the Board of Ed.
Negative -1.
This is minus 0.1.
Alright, I got you.
Okay.
Hang on.
I just wanna, they're not all here, but I just wanna thank the department heads for putting together some pretty reasonable requests this year. I was pleasantly surprised at the frugalness of a lot of our department heads. It was much appreciated and made the job a lot easier on us.
So we have the motion on the floor. It's been seconded for 27,663,867 for the town side of the budget. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Board of Ed.
Board of Ed, you already voted on, because it's only one line.
What is that number?
I'll give you the number now. The number for the Board of Ed is, that you guys approved already, is 43,609,271, which makes the total 71,273,138.
An increase or decrease total?
Increase of, it's 1.115%, it's $785,942 year over year.
So total with both Board of Ed and town is only 758,000.
785.
785.
Hold on, 942. 785, 942 over last year's budget?
Yes.
Okay, so just over 3/4 of a million.
We vote on that grand total now?
Yes.
All right. Could I have a motion for that grand total of 71,273,138, correct, Brad?
Yes.
Could I have a motion for that, please?
I make a motion.
I'll second that.
Okay. Discussion on the final total budget. Comments? Comment? All right, all those in favor of 71,273,138, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
3217.
Your mill rate is going to.
Well, it's obviously,
It's not final yet.
it's not final, but
Right.
as the information we have now,
Right.
it would be 32.17.
Which is a decrease.
Which
Still a
is-
Which
decrease.
is a decrease, because last year was, our current year is
What's that?
3218.
So point oh, we still have a
0.01,
decrease in the mill rate.
0.01. What does that equate? At a
And
217?
remember, the automobiles are at 32. So everybody that gets a personal property tax declaration for cars is gonna see a reduction in the tax.
So the average household that's assessed at 217,000 will save $1.86.
A year?
15 cents.
Not even if they.
Okay,
No.
all right, let us,
Half a box of Girl Scout cookies. One squeeze with Thin Mints.
all right, let us open up under capital plan, all right? If you would present the capital plan,
I did.
we will go over it piece by piece.
That's the one that Bob said.
February 25th?
February
Yep.
25th.
All right, we're gonna go over what the selectmen had recommended, going down top to bottom, and we are in the column of fiscal year 2016-17. And we may need to,
Just keep going.
we may need to ask Mr. Kozlowski a couple of questions on this, but the first is 2017 reevaluation. And this is an ongoing process, and we are at $50,000. That'll bring what we have already budgeted to 200,000, correct? Of the 250 that we need for the reevaluation?
Yep.
Gotta have a motion on that?
I just have a question about, all of this is not capital reoccurring, this is all basically what we're gonna take bonds out on.
That's right.
Yes, this is not calculated.
We'll get to that after.
Okay,
Well, you can move stuff.
okay. I was just looking at some of the items and I'm like, 12,000.
No,
no.
That'll be separate, okay? All right, so, and then next year, we'll put in 50,000, that'll bring us to the 250, which would pay for the reevaluation, correct?
250, it may even be a little bit less, but, we'll see what happens next year. Next year will be the last year of 50,000.
Okay. So, could I have a motion for, $50,000 on the reevaluation?
I make that motion?
Second.
All right, any discussion? This is ongoing, we're at 200,000 out of the 250. All those in favor of the 50,000 for the reevaluation, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. All right, the plan of conservation and development, another 50,000. Bob, could you explain that, please?
This will be the second year for the $50,000. It's a plan that they have to do every 10 years in planning and zoning. And once this is approved and we bond it, they'll start that program.
So that will bring it to the total required of what?
100.
100. Okay. Can I have a motion for the conservation and development plan?
Make that motion?
Second.
Okay, any questions or comments on the 50,000 for the,
I just have one question. Bob, the total cost of it will be 150,000?
No, 100,000. Last year and this year.
So it'll be gone next year.
Well, no, we have it in next year, 2017, 18.
No, you have to go down to the gray lines below it.
Oh, okay.
this is the second payment, which will bring it to a total of 100,000, which will in fact pay for this program, all right? Any other questions or comments? All those in favor of conservation and development at 50,000, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. We're going down to the next line.
Next section is highway.
Okay, F-350 pickup truck at $55,000. Can I have a motion for that?
I make a motion?
Okay, open for discussion on the F-350 pickup truck.
Bob, does that come with a snowplow?
No, I don't think so.
Because this is gonna be replacing Bobby's truck, right?
This is Bob's truck,
We
yeah.
talked about that last night, Doug said, no, it's not coming with a snowplow.
No, that was the
That
big
was
truck.
That was a big
Oh,
truck.
what do
That
I
was a-
know?
that was a big truck.
All right, it's just,
Sorry.
that's a lot of money for a pickup truck without a snowplow, that's all. It should be closer to 45.
Sounds very high,
This is probably,
especially on the state bid.
I'm sure, he's always had a plow on the truck, so I'm sure this is good.
Well,
Yeah, that's
really-
why I just asked that question, because the plow's another $6,000 or $7,000.
Right. I mean, he may wind up taking the plow from the current truck.
Nah, it ain't gonna happen. No, I'm just saying, that's, you know, that's a lot of money, I'd like dump trucks for
How
that.
can we find out whether or not it includes the plow?
Talk to him tomorrow.
You know, I mean, obviously, I don't wanna,
Next farm, right?
no, I don't wanna hold it up for this.
No,
This is just,
No, we can
I mean, if it
move
comes
on
in
it.
under, and sometimes he does come in under around his.
well, just let them know, we'll be looking at it.
Yeah.
That, you know, I mean, it's just, I bought 2 dump trucks for less than that.
All right, we could specify that he puts a plow in.
This is a pickup truck.
All right. All right, we're voting on the F-350 pickup truck at $55,000. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Okay, the next is the road construction. Now,
No, hold on a second. Road construction.
wait,
It's right under the pickup.
Oh, okay, sorry, I certainly.
okay, this is the other portion we spoke about for the bonding versus the 500,000 that we put into the regular budget. Could I have a motion on this?
Make a motion to, for 250,000.
Second.
Okay, let's open the discussion on road construction bonding of $250,000. Comments or questions?
Because we put 100,000 that we weren't anticipating when we came up with this 250, would we reduce that bond to 150 or would it be irresponsible?
I don't think it's irresponsible, but I think if you look at that 250, that's fine, because if it's approved and we don't need it, we don't borrow it. Let's put it that way. It's always available if we really need it.
All right,
See, all I'm saying is that, you know,
if you see, last year we put in, if I'm correct, 1,038,808, am I correct? And you didn't take that bond out as yet. Okay,
but we're using it all this year, right?
But we're into it by a little over $150,000, $160,000.
okay. If we put this in and he doesn't use it, no harm, no foul,
Not true.
okay? But if they need it, it is here.
Right.
But to say no harm, no foul, I'm not questioning anyone's integrity. Anyone's, that I don't even wanna go down that road. What I'm saying is, we just added 100,000. Okay? We said what we needed at the start of the budget. We came up with a number, we increased it. I prefer to use the money that we have and reduce this bond by 100,000.
Well,
I
you
don't-
know, the other thing to do is to take the 250 out totally. And if we need it down the road next year in the spring, it's an issue, it's not an issue with the rating companies if we're gonna put it towards road construction or purchasing assets. They view that as a good thing. It's not a repair, like Matt had said before. So, I mean, that's the other thing to do, take it out.
And you're using fund balance for that?
We could.
Okay,
Matt, I have a question.
For capital?
Gary,
Matt, maybe you can answer this. In regards to the backlog we have right now with the roads, there's what, 5 roads remaining from the
From the original,
from the original plan?
about that, plus, the school complex.
Plus the school.
Yeah.
Now, wasn't one of those roads Briarcliff Road off of Nashville?
Yeah, I don't, you know what, I don't know from memory.
Either that or Mount Orchard Road?
Mountain Orchard.
Mount Orchard was done.
That's-
One only.
That's a difficult road.
Mountain Orchard was done this summer, this past summer.
It was done?
Yeah, because they had.
All right, listen up, please.
No, that's where we put the water line in.
Yeah, but
It's
they.
gonna be done this year.
Oh, didn't they? Oh, that's right, they have to let it sit overnight.
Because they had a lot of
So that, so Mountain Orchard will be done this year, because they've done the water.
Okay. Now, my concern of being conservative in nature is that we run into some problems, this year, when we go to pave it, it's sunk, or we get those kind of issues. I don't know, it's possible.
That money was set aside for it.
Okay.
We had 4 roads, okay?
Right.
That was one, Cindy was another one, and Andrews and Highland.
How about Nashville?
Yeah, that's the
Nashville
summer.
got to be redone.
The lower part of Nashville is this summer.
All right, do we have the list of roads for this year yet?
We have a proposal list that is subject to change.
Has that been published?
No, it's in my, we don't publish it till after we have a budget number, because
Okay,
for obvious reasons.
okay. So, let us, keep discussing. Bill, you have a question?
Yes, I'd like to propose an amendment to reduce authorization to borrow $250,000 for road construction during fiscal year 2016-17 to zero.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor, and it's been seconded to reduce this potential bond from 250 to 0. And if we need it, we could come back at another time.
No, we can come back.
No, we don't come back.
Correct.
No, we can come back.
Yeah, correct. We can address it.
We can take it on the agenda.
But I guess we have to vote on the first motion first, the 250.
Yeah, we're never coming back.
That wasn't done.
Yeah.
What's that?
You gotta vote on the first one.
He wasn't
Right,
done.
right. Well, we'll vote on the first one then, okay?
So it should be, that'll be now.
Well,
The vo- All right, let me try your minds. We're gonna vote on 250,000 in the capital plan.
Can I make a point
But
of
we
order?
already discussed it.
No, point of order, we would vote on the whole capital plan and then make adjustments and amendments. We wouldn't vote.
Well, we've been doing it piece by piece.
Well,
We voted on the whole
Hold on.
plan.
Hold on.
what, the way the selectmen did this was, we went line by line and voted to include certain things. Because we had a list that was twice as big. So we skipped some things and said, we'll put them off, then the only things we voted on were the things that were included here. So you could do it one of two ways. You could go line by line and say, we'll vote to approve the 50 for reval, and the next 50 for conservation.
That's what we've been.
Or you can go to the back page, vote on the bottom line, or put a motion on the floor for
That's what I'm
3.3
Then we can
million.
discuss
And then just
everything.
discuss everything
Right.
and do amendments.
That
You know
makes
what I mean?
total sense.
So we're not
From
doing
a part of
two
the
votes
event.
on every line.
Right.
Why make
Let's
two
do
We
it.
like to, we just like to do it the hard way.
But it's.
All right, wait a minute, we've already started one way, so we've gotta continue that way, am I correct? Okay, so we'll continue that way, going line by line, all right?
And it's not always 2 votes, it's just according to whether.
All right, so that's what we'll do. We have a vote, you can either approve it at 250 or disapprove it and it's gone, okay? So, all those in favor of funding road construction at 250,000, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed to 250,000, please say nay.
Nay.
All right, that is out of the budget.
Then we've already discussed it,
Yes.
and then we'll go ahead and vote to reduce it to 0.
All right, those in favor of reducing it to 0, all right, let's have a motion just to make it,
Well, he made an amended motion.
it's all set,
Moved and seconded.
we're set.
So
Okay,
we just
okay,
need to vote
I'm
on
sorry, it was, I'm sorry.
All right, those in favor of reducing it to 0, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Now, we're gonna go on to the next line. $178,000 for a Class 8 42,000 pound truck, okay?
Yep, I make a motion.
Okay, we're opening on discussion on a $178,000 truck. Any comments or questions?
I know I asked about the snowplow yesterday. I it should be with the sander. But I don't see a snow plow, so what are they gonna do? I hope the snow gets out in front of the truck without a snow plow on it, we're gonna put a snow plow on it?
I thought Doug said it had the apparatus to put the plow on and they would use the plows they have.
We have plows.
That's what I.
It comes equipped with the rack on the front.
The rack on the front.
So it's coming with the plow frame?
Yeah.
But- And the plow
I
is-
only got, last night, I only understood it was coming with the sander.
Yeah.
That was
No,
part
he
of
I heard
it.
that
did say that there was gonna be housing up front.
Okay, so, and then we're just gonna use an existing snow plow that we have, I know we have some of those
we have
plows
different
and blah,
types
blah,
of
blah,
We
blah.
also have 4 brand new plows
Yeah,
Yes.
plow
from,
plows.
from last year.
Yep, we have
Okay, just
plow
making
plows.
sure that we're, it's not gonna come up next year that, hey, guess what?
Okay,
Can I ask a question?
yes, go ahead.
I just, and this is, and I'm just trying to, this year, the truck in 2016, 2017, the pickup truck, we have saying it's 55,000. Next year, in 2017, 2018, we're buying the same truck for 52,000. This year, we're spending 178,000 on a 1994 L8000. Next year, the prices have gone up. We're anticipating 186,000. So, I guess my question is, one year we're paying 55, next year we're paying 52. Then the following years, I mean, this year we're paying 178, and next year we're anticipating 186. I'm just trying to understand, are there trade-ins, or, I mean, how are we coming up with those numbers? That's what I don't understand.
It's either one or two things. Either that 52 was there from last year as a placeholder for a plan going forward on a 10-year plan, because if you look at some of, like, the road construction, there's 750 and 500,000 going out for each year subsequent. So it could be either that, or maybe a different configuration of the truck. I don't know. That's something that Doug.
Well, it might have been a change in the state bid.
And that's
price,
it.
too.
That might have been put in several years ago as
Well,
well.
that's what I'm saying. I think it was probably a placeholder from last year or the year before when they were doing their 10-year plan that they need.
Okay,
So,
thanks, Bob.
Right. All right, any other questions on the truck at 178,000? All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So moved. Let us get down to the, the culvert. Codfish Hill Road culvert, 40,000.
Can I make a motion?
Second.
All right, let's open up for discussion on $40,000 for a culvert.
I do have a question. Why wouldn't this be worked into some kind of the, somewhere in, highway, whether it's even a separate line? I mean, what do we normally do over the year? I don't know, I'm asking this question. When, right now, obviously, we're doing a lot of drainage with the road, the big road projects. But when other things came down the pike over the years, this is the first time, quite frankly, in 7 years, I've seen something like this on the capital plan.
You should have seen the original Walnut Hill Bridge, the one that's up by Walnut Hill Church, was done the same way.
Yeah, but I think that was before my time. Which would have been-
No, it was right,
Was
it
it?
was the first year you were
on.
I think it was your
What would
first
be
year.
it would have been your first year too, so.
Yeah.
How long ago is this project, 2-year project? Was it- how
Oh,
long?
this one? No, this is a culvert
And
replacement.
what about the next
All
one?
right.
Because those look like they should be, for me, they should be in highway.
It's 2 years,
Thank you.
so it's gonna take 2 years.
Okay, where on Codfish Hill is this?
2 years, 40 and 75.
If you look
Yeah,
at-
40 and 75.
But if you look at.
Oh, the 75, yeah.
Right.
They're both 2 years? Like, there's a
Well,
variety.
may I?
Yeah.
Yes, let's listen to Rich Straight.
Because I asked the Public Works Director about that, and basically he told me the $40,000 was for design and investigation of the watershed area, how much water goes through that culvert. And I questioned him on that, and I said, well, maybe just talk to the neighbors and see how many times the road overflowed.
Why don't you just build a bigger
And
reduction?
I also mentioned when they replaced the culvert in front of my house, they just put 2 pipes in the ground and walked away, so. He's gonna look into it, so this is, hopefully 40,000 will do the whole project.
Excellent.
But he is holding a placeholder for next year in case it was more, but I had a discussion with him about that.
Okay.
That it was too much money for that. a road culvert, a drainage pipe from across. the
I'm
road.
thinking the same
It's
thing.
not a-
You
not
have
a
to do
bridge.
a study for this, the whole study things are getting to be a little outrageous.
You still have to do those for inland wetland.
There's certain things, we have a $40,000 site plan that's a bit on the steep side.
All right. Any other further questions or comments? All right, comments or questions on 40,000? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, going down to Maple Avenue drainage improvements. We heard a little bit about this last night. Can I have a motion?
Make the motion?
Second.
All right, let's open up discussion on Maple Avenue drainage improvements at 75,000. I had some concerns about that last night. I think he addressed it. I went by there today. I see it's around the corner up, further up, almost across from Ball Field Road. And it looks like, to me, that it is crumbling. To me, there is a stone wall there that is,
That's my way of saying it.
well, I try to be nice, but it does look like it's in tough shape. But now, the 75,000, is this Rich Straighten, please?
Again, that's for, some engineering surveys to be done. The proposed is to reroute that drainage down Ballfield Road into the swamp area. So a lot of that is, some of that 75,000 is the preliminary work for engineering, to see if that's possible to go down there to eliminate that open drainage ditch there.
So
Go ahead.
we're not even gonna most likely complete this work this year.
No, This is a much bigger job.
And he's thinking 75,000.
That's the beginning, that's the first year.
All right, now, question. You're gonna reroute it, that means you're gonna dig up across the road and you've gotta get down through the private property to get down to the
No, they
back.
can go down Ballfield Road to the, baseball right.
So right under the
The town owns the property down there, that's, and they have to be sensitive, because that is where our well fields are, so they have to, they can't run, salt water down into our well fields.
But that is also
So-
salt water. If the runoff.
Well, that's why a lot of the engineering has to be done to make sure they're far enough away from the well field areas. So a lot of that is the study to do it.
Do we have an idea of how long we've got before that wall falls down? Okay, we're talking about $75,000 to start out the Maple Avenue drainage improvement. Gonna have a vote on that. All those in favor of $75,000, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. All right, going down, we're gonna go down to Berry School parking. We have a number in here of $110,000.
I make the motion to approve it.
And we have to open up first.
No, you
Put
make
the motion on the
Like,
floor.
Okay, all right, and second.
I'll second it for discussion.
Okay, now, if you see in what I had for capital non-recurring, and Bob will correct me if I'm wrong, we started out at 225. We did fund the YMCA wall at 88,000.
87,146.
Okay. There was the chance that that could be paid for out of another fund.
That's right.
And that would bring us back to whole at 225, correct? Right. It would be my theory to fund out of the capital non-recurring and take it out of the bonding and pay for it this year because we already have the money set aside at $100,000. All right? They had $30,000 set aside from 2 years ago. And it was, they asked for 10,000. I was thinking that perhaps the highway department could do $10,000 worth of site work to bring it down to $100,000. And we would include that in capital non-recurring. The good thing about that is as soon as we approve it and Bob transfers that fund to make it whole, even if it's in a few months, am I right? They can start that at the beginning of the school vacation, okay? Otherwise, if we do this under the capital plan, it wouldn't go into effect until July. See what I'm saying? And then that's a period of a few weeks of construction time that could be utilized. Now, I'm gonna ask Terry Yansky if she feels, she's here in the audience tonight, if she feels that 130,000, and does it need any plans or anything else? I think the only thing needs to be done is have that hydrant moved, correct?
Well, I'll tell you the status that we're at, and I don't think we would get it done over the spring break, because we have an architect revising the plan. I've been working with our colleagues in planning and zoning. Once they feel it meets all the specifications, then we have to go in front of the Planning and Zoning Commission with this plan, and they have to approve it. And then, since it's over 30,000, we would have to bid it. So it's going to take a little time.
I wasn't thinking spring break, I was thinking summer break.
Summer break.
Yes.
Summer break, we would get it done.
Okay.
Yes.
And his method would allow you to get the ball rolling now, right?
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
That would be wonderful.
The school is out
Right now, June 10th.
June 10th. All right, well, okay.
June 10th.
I need no more snow.
All right, think about this, and for those people who are new on the board,
Spring's here.
2 years ago, we approved the $30,000.
Yeah,
And
as
we
long
thought-
as long as that really still exists, but I asked you that last time we were here.
It's still in, correct?
Yes.
Okay. We thought we could do it 2 summers ago. It has to be done, it's a safety issue. It is a concern. This here would alleviate a lot of those problems, put it on the other side of the school, and it could be utilized for other things as well.
Absolutely. The
Okay.
location is perfect for high school events, high
They
school
already park
football.
there.
They park on.
They park
on-
there anyway.
They
Right.
park in the grass.
And voting and all of that, so it
Yes.
would be a win-win.
Yes.
Okay, so I would like to have that put into capital non-recurring, so what we would do in effect is just cancel it out of the long-term capital.
I move to amend the, motion on the floor and remove 110,000 from the 2016-2017 fiscal year fund.
Second.
Any discussion on that?
I just have one question.
Yes.
Why wouldn't we just move the whole 110 over? I mean, we're assuming that town highway isn't gonna have anything else to do. I mean, if we're going into the summer, we're kind of going into the, road season, and I'm assuming that we're gonna want town highway to focus on the 1.3 or 1.4 million that we just approved for road construction. We put the school off for how many years on this project? If we don't need it and town highway says you don't need it, it stays in that account, right? Or am I wrong?
Go ahead. Maybe he can answer that.
You make a good point, but you don't have to worry about that right now because, you know, I don't mean to throw legal technicalities in. But at this moment, you don't have a voted on request by the Board of Selectmen to fund this out of the current capital non-recurring. So we will still have to do that for you. So right now, all you're doing is voting to take the 110 out. We can send you a request, you know, right after this.
Oh, but you'll agree to, like, if we take it out, we're gonna do the repairs.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
I'm just.
It's just a
I understand
different-
what we're talking about.
All right, so let us, we have an amended,
Bottom line is us.
I understand that. I understand.
let us,
Are you
Go
gonna do
ahead.
100 or 110?
we're gonna remove the 110, and what they would do, they would come back to us with a recommendation. Okay, so all we're doing is removing the 110, and we will wait for the recommendation, whether it be 100 or 110, okay? So Bill's motion was amended to remove the 110 from the capital budget. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed? So moved. Now we're gonna go into lighting for Whittlesey Drive at 200,000.
Make the motion?
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Let us open for discussion, lighting for Whittlesey Drive. I wish we had a map of where that would go. It would be on the north side of the road, am I correct? On the
Yeah,
very
the side
school
of the-
side.
The junior parking lot. I'm picturing that it's from the entrance to the back of Berry, all the way down to Reynolds Ridge.
Correct. It's the junior parking lot that's across from the baseball
Oh, so it's
field.
not going up towards Judd, it's going towards
Judd.
Reynolds Ridge on the west side.
Well,
Well, no, I thought they said all the way to Judd.
all the way to
Okay,
Judd.
let's go to our engineer restraint.
When we were discussing that,
Correct. It's all the way to Judd.
we,
Okay.
in my opinion, we voted for the lighting to go from Judd down to the junior parking lot. And the discussion came up that the existing conduit and pillars for the lights weren't acceptable because it went to a different transformer. But at least that piping is in the ground. They might have to look at a different source to feed those lights. But this 200,000 was for, from Judd to
The junior
the parking lot.
So you wanna start all the way at Judd?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's actually like two separate projects in a way, combined into one. It's junior parking lot and then finding a way to reroute the Berry stuff,
Correct.
so that they all work.
Okay.
All right, now how is
First
this,
time in 20 years.
how is this gonna affect the Berry School parking lot addition? Could this all be done at the same time? If you're digging, right?
No, this is along Whittlesey Road.
But it's still on that side, isn't it?
Right.
It is.
Was it?
Yes, it is.
It's gonna go right by this Berry School parking lot
It
and
is.
where the hydrant is and all of that.
It has to be planned.
It is, it is. And planning and zoning mentioned that we would need lighting, so this will cover that.
So this would cover the needed lighting for the Berry School parking lot.
Along the,
All
along
right,
that
very good, okay.
edge,
Along the road section.
along the roadside, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Bruce, can I just?
Yes.
I'm familiar with what you guys want to do, and I just have a question for Bob, because I'm kind of running numbers as we go along, and, you know, we're roughly at just shy of 400,000 that we've already approved in long-term capital. What number do you feel comfortable with in terms of us borrowing based on, you know, where our debt's going, where we're paying? Because I'm looking down the road too, and it looks like we have quite a few years of some pretty big capital projects coming up. So, you know, as my mind's going, we're talking about increasing the highway budget and this and that, and I'm all for it. But some of these items like the culvert and things like that, maybe should come out of operating. Because again, you know, we're already at 400,000.
Mhm.
I'm just looking down the list, it looks like we could go over 2 million easily. What's the number? I mean, are these 20-year bonds or is it a combination?
These are short-term notes, they're
This is
rolled
all
every
the-
9 months. The interest rate on this, the last time back in August was 29 basis points.
So
Relatively cheap.
0.25%.
Yeah, a little more than a
Roughly.
quarter of a point.
Okay.
Right now, it's probably up closer maybe to 40 basis points, maybe a half a point, because the Feds did increase the rates, but they fluctuate a little bit.
And what's the payoff, the anticipated payoff in your mind on these bonds?
Well, this year in the budget, we have $1 million pay down plan.
Where are we at currently in short-term bonds?
You got the schedules I gave you that were on the table earlier. The shorter sheet is a short-term note, so we're at 9,405, but 400,000 is the water department, so the town is at $9 million
In short-term bonds?
in short-term notes.
And we're paying $1 million of that off this year.
Yes, but you're gonna be adding.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I mean, at what point, you know, are we getting ourselves into a little bit, I just wonder, when are we getting ourselves into trouble? Because if we keep increasing and let's say we're paying $1 million even at a 0.25%, and I'm just gonna say 10 million because it's an easy number for me, you'd be looking at 250,000 in interest. you're probably paying off how much in principal, 700,000?
No, I keep that separate. So,
Okay.
it would be $1 million pay down in principal.
In principal, okay. But then if we approved everything, we'd be at almost 11 million in short-term bonds.
Over the last few years, it's been growing. And I think the plan would be when we would go to bond, you see, when you go to bond, it costs you about $100,000 in legal and underwriting fees. When we do the short-term notes, and plus the bonding, will probably be somewhere around 2.75%.
Interest rate.
Interest rate.
Yeah.
So when you do the short-term notes, the cost to do a short-term note is about $10,000, okay? And the interest rates are what I said, last time 29 basis points. So probably the best approach would be when we're going to do the police station, because we're gonna have the cost to do the bonding, roll the short-term notes at that point into the long-term note and pay down all the short-term notes. If you look on the short-term schedule, the smaller one, you can see that the high school addition was originally in there at $32 million. And as it moved down to a point where it was ready to be bonded, that was paid off from the short term and went into the long-term notes. And it appears, well, now it's convoluted in the refundings, but it's on the big schedule here. So I would say in 3 or 4 years, when we actually bond the police station, that would be the time to bring everything together. But in the meantime, try to get the capital plan under control, keep it as best you can, and continue to pay down the short-term notes to the extent of maybe $1 million a year. We can roll a note, a short-term note for 7 years. Then it has to be bonded. But the way it's been paid with the older ones first, we've never gotten into the situation where we had an issue because they were paid off before the 7 years.
And also, on occasion, and this is Tim's favorite thing, when we do have free cash, we put that towards the bond, right?
Yeah, last year we paid down the front property.
But is there a number that you feel comfortable with, where I mean, you're the expert.
I would say probably this year. I mean, originally it came out, it was around $8 million, and I was like, it's not, you can't do this, you know? But I think 2 million would probably be an appropriate number, somewhere around there, 1.8, 2.2, something like that.
1.8.
All right. Okay, Bill.
Yeah, I think it's important, when we're looking at this stuff, just to make sure that the nature of what we're funding through this mechanism is really capital expenses and long-term lifespan. And I think we're gonna be okay in general, as long as we stick to this principle and pick and choose.
Okay, so lighting for Whittlesey. Now, is this gonna be all inclusive? Is this the maximum, or is this an estimate? What is this?
What was the question?
200,000. Is this the maximum that would be spent?
It's an estimate.
It's an estimate.
But not a hard.
Lighting for Whittlesey Drive, 200,000.
It's an estimate. It's an estimate, but once you approve it, it can't go over that anyway.
Okay.
It'd also go up to bid.
Okay.
Can I ask one more question to the school? These projects, if we approve them, are we definitely gonna get them done this year? Because I just hate it when stuff keeps rolling over year after year. I mean, if we agree to approve the 200,000, we're saying that this will be completed by July of 2000. It would be July of 2018.
For the lighting?
17.
17.
17. We'll be done by July
Yeah,
2017.
yes. Yeah, I think the town has talked about some of these issues for long enough.
All I'm saying is it'll be done by July 2000.
Yes,
That'll make me feel good.
yes.
Okay,
Great.
yes.
I'll give you a little history. When Paul and I were on the very school remodeling, we appropriated the money to put those conduits in the ground as part of that project. That project's probably been done for 15 years now.
We talked about when I was on the board.
And one of the previous administrations had sent a request back that they were going to do the project, and CLP sent a check back for $25,000 to the town, and the rest of the project got canceled. So that one section from Whittlesey down to where the school junior park lot started could have been done many years ago, and it wasn't, for a lot less money.
And Brian, I'll be very straight, you know, once you approve these funds, we will meet, with Doug from Public Works, and we'll decide the best place to manage the project. You know, it may be Mr. Germanero, it may be Doug. You know, we have to do it where it really belongs.
We're gonna try and do the lighting in the parking lot kind of at the same time. It would make a whole lot of
Yes,
sense.
that would make the
Save a
most
lot of
sense.
money. So, okay,
Excellent.
just making sure.
All right, we have a motion on the floor, been seconded for lighting for Whittlesey Drive at 200,000. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. All right, the next one is the Bethel High School auditorium seats at 200,000. Can I have a motion?
Make the motion?
Second.
All right, let's open for discussion, the Bethel High School auditorium seating. We had Mr. Paul Zatkowski looking into that. Maybe he has some information for us.
No, the only thing I asked Terry, if Bob Germanero had an opportunity to talk, he was supposed to speak today,
He did not.
and he
Yeah.
didn't.
It's moved to tomorrow.
Okay, and I think we sort of preliminary discussed, we know the high school, that is, those are nothing but antiques and the original stuff. But the middle school too, it's kind of getting there. We were talking about maybe we can get a better deal if we do both schools at once. And Bob told me yesterday something that was surprising to me, is the fact that middle school, you would not have to do the entire seats, okay, just the seats, but not the structure. So they're reupholstery.
Well, there's some structural
Yeah.
damage on some of them.
Essentially.
I'm sure there'll be some repair to an extent, but not to the extent that the high school is.
Right.
Several
I don't
rows,
know,
There are
those seats are metal.
several rows
that have structural
that have been
issues.
removed from the middle school over time.
Well, those could be replaced, I grant
right.
you that. But,
Yeah.
for the most part, what is it, 900 seats?
No, it's about
868.
Yeah,
Yeah.
868.
700, I think.
All right, how many in in Bethel High School?
537, I believe, Mr. Troy said.
So this is about $36 per seat.
No, no.
200,000 divided by 5.
No.
He had a number how much it was to replace it in his original budget on each bank of
Yeah,
seats.
that was strictly for the high school.
Yes.
All right, so,
That's what we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
right. I think we should only concentrate on the high school right now. And in
Always
fact,
come back.
we will be up there shortly for a meeting and everybody can see how the seats are. I think we all know. All right, those are the original seats, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay.
You'll be able to see.
Any questions or comments on seating for the high school?
What's the number to do the project, 200, or is it less?
Well,
We-
we're kind of up in the air. That's the problem, is we were hoping that he was gonna meet with them. Well, not only that, is they have almost $11,000 in the 460 account that I think we removed.
You did remove
We
it,
removed
yes.
it last
Yes.
night.
That was to
So-
repair.
So that would be the
I have a question.
200.
Okay, go ahead.
So sort of like saying that maybe the highway department might be able to dig up the parking lot, would it be possible for any department to demo the?
Yeah, well, this is what I spoke to Bob about this. He says, essentially, I was planning to use the town's personnel
Yeah,
to take out, okay,
yeah.
to keep the costs down. He says, I'm not saying that it's gonna be an all-in-one contractor, because I think we could save some money that way. And I'm sure, if we could take out the steel and just take it over to Dell's, we might get some.
Not much, but you get some.
We could scrap
What,
it.
your mouth is open, Christine, so I just.
Well, Terry and I, both our mouths
Okay.
are open. I'm not sure relying on.
Okay. I don't think we have a well put together plan yet,
Exactly, I almost want to table it. I want to do it, but I'm just.
What a number.
I want a better feel of it. We're getting a good feel of all this other things, and this is kind of flapping out there in the wind without really having, I certainly wouldn't buy something with this much information. I hate like hell to spend the taxpayers' money that way. Potentially.
How could we put this aside until we get the exact information?
Can you approve it and then adjust it after the county?
I don't know, I think something.
we need to have it in.
Bob, let's listen to Bob Kozlowski.
Public hearing.
After the public
Yeah.
hearing.
By then, they should have
A
firm numbers.
quote.
and you could come up with, what you
Leave
think
it in,
is
take
an
it out.
appropriate, amount.
Correct.
You
Put it
could,
into the capital plan.
you could put this in and then adjust it afterwards.
Yes.
That's the
Correct.
public hearing.
We can adjust it hopefully downward.
Right.
Correct, I don't think it's gonna be more.
All right, so why don't we do that? You heard what they said, put it in, we can adjust it downward when we get the exact information.
Correct.
Right, everybody agree to that? Question, comment? Okay.
It's the lesser of two evils.
I guess I'm just being honest, I'm just very uncomfortable without having even a ballpark.
Well, you do have.
We do have a ballpark.
Yeah, this is like about a 2-year-old, I guess, estimate, okay?
It wasn't 200 to do it, I know that, so, I mean, when we discussed it, we never, that number was never even really brought up in front of us. I mean, we got a number to do a certain set of seats.
Are you talking about the board of ed when you were discussing?
No, I'm talking about when we were talking about the seats here. So, I guess my question would be is, where did this estimate come from? Was there any document?
From Bob.
Was there any documentation? And I'm not questioning people's, it's just, I would hate to say, hey, let's approve 200, and then you guys come back and say the project's gonna cost 250. What do we do?
Brian, the answer to that.
Money.
Brian, your answer is you have a public hearing. After the public hearing, you can adjust this, take it out, add to it, whatever.
It's a placeholder.
And then that final number goes to the town meeting. All right.
So I just want to clear up, so you're saying that after the public hearing, by that time, that Bob will have presented
Hopefully.
an estimate?
This is having somebody come in tomorrow.
Data, okay, okay.
All right, so we are voting on the 200,000 tentative, and then we can adjust it after the public hearing, but it is in here now as a placeholder.
Tentative is a good word.
Been motioned and second. All those in favor of 200,000 for auditorium seats, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The second page, page 2 of the capital recommendation. We have a highway garage roof at $150,000.
Make the motion.
Oh,
Second.
All right, we're opening for discussion on the highway garage roof at $150,000. Do I have any comments on that? Any comments, questions?
Well, yeah, I guess that's actually for Bob. I'm just looking at the original capital that we had. And was there a ban on it in 2012 to 13? For 60,000? Now, I know we did something there a couple of years ago, but if I remember right, it was a structural thing with concrete.
Correct, that was for the frame.
Oh, that's.
The thing is, there's 60,000 for highway garage roof.
Yeah,
And
I'm just wondering.
I think that's a different, it's a different section of the roof.
You see what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
see what I'm looking at?
Yep.
So I'm like,
No, I don't think it's the same thing.
It was a different section of the roof.
Okay, that's fine.
Well, we've also got repairs that they're making to the walls where the steel is dissolved.
Yeah, it's corroding.
The uprights.
That's probably what I was thinking too. Okay, that was my only question.
All right, any other comments on that? All right, all those in favor of the highway garage roof at $150,000, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So moved. The next one on the list, the highway garage CO system at $250,000.
Make the motion.
Second.
All right, let's open for discussion of the highway garage CO system at $250,000. Any questions or comments?
Bob, can you tell us where we are right now? Are we at 843 for what we've totally approved?
You gotta tell us.
7. Where are we at?
998.
So we've already approved $900
$1 million.
We've already approved $1 million out of 1.8 to 2 million you feel comfortable with.
Okay. What is the, we got a little bit of a presentation on this last night. And this is it's not a individual hookup to every truck, this is a ventilation system, is that correct, Mr. Fire Marshal?
I'm not familiar with the system at all, so I cannot comment.
Our engineer?
Okay, this is the safety issue at the town garage. Yes, it's not an individual connection like they have at the fire truck.
Right.
Because, what it is a system that will sense the CO2, shut off the heating systems, open the garage doors, ventilate there'll be ventilators installed in the roof to remove those gases.
Does this incorporate the entire building?
No, the garage.
Just, I mean, the entire garage?
Where the truck bays are. This has been an ongoing thing, and this is one design that they're looking at another design, for cost saving, if anything. But this is the one.
How many other towns have this type of system?
I'm sure every other town's gonna have some type of system in the near future.
So this is a new mandate?
Yeah. So OSHA.
mandating this now.
So we're kind of getting ahead of the curve is the idea.
Well, I think we're already under the, we're on notice.
Yeah.
Because we've been talking about this for at least 2-3 years now.
Yeah, I guess, but there's other options maybe out there. It seems, I mean, like you said, fans and garage doors open automatically, and it sounds, really great. It sounds like a maintenance nightmare to me, quite frankly, in an old building.
It's gonna be an automated system through the energy management system too, so it's, it's an automated system.
In an old building.
And right now, there's so many holes in the building.
It blows through and whatever.
Right, it blows through right now, but when they tighten that building up for the energy efficiency.
And maybe the roof would help?
No, it's.
Well.
So you're gonna need the system.
So let me understand, we're gonna enclose the space so that it's a tighter seal to contain it, and then we're gonna install a system that will help it go away.
Yes.
Oh,
That's it, Michelle.
All right, question, Rich, is this roof mounted, or is it side mounted, or where is this mounted?
There'll be probably roof fans installed, also the doors, depending on the sensors. And again, it's an automated system, it's a low sensor, it'll probably open exhaust fans. If it's really excessive, it would open the garage doors and it shuts down the heating system.
Let us hope that they can coordinate that with the roof. Okay, any other questions or comments?
Rich, have you seen the bids or the specs on this?
No, just conversations and some of the energy meetings that they're looking at.
Just when it was brought up that there might be other options out there.
Well, they are looking at other options, but this is one cost that design has been completed. But they're looking at through the Amoresco project, they're looking at possibly other systems.
Was it completed at no cost? Did a company come in and look at it and design a system?
No, it was designed by the town. I don't know the gentleman who designed it for the town.
Where was that money appropriated through?
Probably through Public Works.
In their contracted services, I would think.
Probably.
So this would
It
be
goes
a,
back several years.
yeah,
Okay, so this is something that's a couple of years.
Well, remember what I said the other night, the original idea was to use the Yankee Gas grant to put gas heat in there, to upgrade the heating system and make it more energy efficient. And you can't do that without so that whole thing has not been completed because of the CO2 or the CO system, which isn't there.
so, once the CO system is in, then they can put the gas heat in.
Correct.
Rich, you seem to be the expert, not the.
Well, I've been to some of these meetings.
The other options, did they give an idea of cost? And did they meet OSHA's specifications?
They're all in that neighborhood.
And did the other ones meet OSHA's specifications?
Oh, yeah.
And
So they're all about the same cost.
They're all about the same cost. They're looking into the mechanical operations, the garage door openings versus the vent opening. There's still all that planning.
And are there any
kind of contingencies in those numbers where if they say it's not compatible with this garage door, and now we gotta start changing garage doors, and now we gotta start changing
Brian, as
this.
far as I know, they've looked at all those details and it's all supposed to be in there.
I have
That I
a
know, yes.
question. I feel uncomfortable because it sounds like there are a couple components for this, and I'm new at this, would it not be one project? Could you not make one project to put the gas?
No, they're two separate things.
Yeah, because the gas is part of the Amoresco thing.
Oh, okay, okay.
So
And there's not money in the Amoresco project to do the CO, because that's
Okay.
not an energy thing.
Okay, but with the CO, I just feel instinctively uncomfortable because there's not, you're saying, well, I think, I'm pretty sure, or like,
Well,
I
as
don't
far as
know.
I know, they have this is a cost estimate that they have to install a system there. Now,
And will
since
the different-
Amoresco's come on, they're looking at other alternatives.
And
to
would
put
those
that base
alternatives
number.
be cheaper?
They haven't said.
Right.
Right, so we are at a, Bob, go ahead.
Then this is a design, I believe this is a design approved plan.
By Ocean.
Well, that's
Design
under,
was planned by somebody.
that's been approved by an
Okay.
engineer under OSHA regulations.
Okay.
You know,
I'm new to the board, so I don't know what the standard operating procedure is. As a newbie, I'm just a little uncomfortable trying to decide something without having the data behind it, without kind of having an opportunity to understand at some level. And that level is probably being able to explain it so that my wife doesn't get mad at it. And I just don't feel like I'm there yet. Yeah, I don't know what the normal process is.
well,
So-
all I can say, it's a safety issue and it needs to be done.
Is this a safety issue because when they start off the trucks, in order to get the brakes going, they gotta build up the pressure,
Right,
right? So the trucks are running inside the building.
correct.
Why can't they just open the garage door?
that's what they do now.
Right.
Hey, Rich,
But there's nothing to monitor it, they don't wanna open the garage doors unless they have to.
Well, that would allow all the fresh air in, and you would avoid the CO problem, right?
But then at least all the, lets the heat out.
Lets all the hot air out.
Oh, I understand that.
You know?
I
I'm
think
sure what we're paying in, gas, oil, whatever, well, right now it's oil, all right? Would probably be cheaper than 250,000.
It would be cheaper to hire someone to stay there all night and,
I,
Well,
why
that's
don't
the
we-
problem.
Go ahead, go ahead.
We're losing sight of something here, that we are under a mandate that we gotta do this.
It's a
And
safety issue.
it's a safety issue, and,
That's what it's coming down to.
but it doesn't have to cost,
The
still.
cost is
I
there,
don't know, I
that's the
don't know
cost.
if there's any way to, this has been engineered for 3 years, we've been going through this. This is the same cost that I got from Andrew 3 years ago, when I said, hey, where are we on the gas project? He said, I got some bad news, we can't put that in until we deal with the fact that we're under orders to put in the system. So, I don't have a quote in front of me, I didn't know that you're gonna require that, but this is the price that we have.
One of my thoughts are on it is, I know it's $250,000, but there's gonna be an energy savings also by bringing Yankee gas down, To me, it starts off as a safety thing, there's
Yeah.
a safety issue. Quite frankly, listen, the guy shouldn't be sleeping in the trucks in the garage, okay? Is it gonna happen? Absolutely, I'm sure, and the mechanics are working in there, or whatever, and when the trucks start up there, it's nasty, these things are nasty. And since we're under a mandate that it has to be done, unfortunately, I think it kind of ties our hands anyways. So, but I think that 250,000 is going to be offset by the energy savings over time. And God knows, if there was ever, somebody decided to fall asleep and never woke up. I don't.
All right, well, let me explain. I think that according to what our first selectman is saying, this has to be done before the gas project can be. All right, so we have to do this before the gas line can be put in to convert the public works building to the natural gas. It can't be done without this.
Correct.
Okay. So, any energy savings or anything else that we wish to accomplish cannot be done until we do this. And so this goes in order. This is number one, then we get to the number two, then we get to the savings and all of that. All I request is that this is coordinated with the roof project, similar to what the schools, okay?
Yeah.
All right, let us, any other questions or comments on this? All right, let's move forward with the, highway garage CO.
Oh,
Yeah. All those in favor at 250,000, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Let us go on to salt storage building repairs at 50,000.
I make that motion?
Second.
Okay, let us open up on questions on salt storage building repairs. Rich Street.
It's maintenance that needs to be done on building. When the original building was designed, the roof comes down onto the block of the poured walls, and it's just
The siding's gotta be replaced in some places
Yeah,
also,
it's,
so.
it's maintenance and
And diverting water.
and diverting water for future prevention of rot and things falling apart. on
How old is that building?
20 years.
The original design was not a good one.
No.
I think we got some kind of a,
The original design was under orders because we got fined
I know.
from the state of Connecticut for not having the salt covered.
They put that up in 1 week and took off, I remember.
Yeah.
All right.
Richie, why wouldn't this be in repairs and maintenance, just down there around there?
I think because it's a long-term, it's a capital improvement to the building.
Yeah, that's what Bob recommended, that they go to capital.
Yeah, okay.
How long has it been in the, how long have we known this for? Been a few years?
It's a few years.
Okay.
Couple years.
Is that, so the 50,000 is a firm number? I don't wanna put a Band-Aid on something.
Right.
I think you did.
Yeah, it's a good number.
Okay. So, one second.
This was for 50, so it's.
I mean, this is also something, that we could put on the capital non-recurring too. I don't wanna deplete that fund, but it's something that we could put under there. It's 50,000. So.
Well, I think if you look at the next couple of pages, most of those items there can go to the capital.
Most of them are, I was gonna make that motion, that
Yeah.
there are other people on the board for, I'm sure. But I don't wanna run over, that's why I was asking Brad last night, all the numbers that we had. I mean, the big key is getting that low step reimbursement, and that, that's a big, I'm not counting on the 12,000 from, 14, 15, but I'm counting on the 15, 16. And then, and again, some of this stuff can go on the 16, 17 budget we're in now, which is up to 225,000. So
you would like to put that under the 225 for next year?
I personally would like to just take it out of capital right now and then have, then put it back.
Reserve it for the CNO maybe.
Yes.
For next year?
No, it could, no,
16, 17.
yeah, right now. No, I, maybe it would be this year.
But that's something that you would vote on after the budget is approved.
Okay.
You decide on how you're gonna use the 225,000.
So we're gonna make a motion to,
Well, unless, yes, you're correct, yep.
Approve it now and then we can.
Well, no, what you're gonna do is reserve it to the capital non-recurring account, and then later on, after the budget is approved,
Okay.
we'll sit down and go through.
Yeah.
Maybe even the night we do the mill rate.
Okay, so what we'll do, we'll approve this in reserve.
Yeah.
No, you don't. No, we're gonna.
Okay.
You're gonna reserve it for,
Okay, so we're gonna pass on this for now.
Well, we're not gonna, we're gonna.
why don't we remove it like we did the other
Okay.
thing?
Bruce,
Motion to.
Okay,
remove.
let's-
you're taking it out, so this is the current year capital, you take it out, I'll put a note in here, what you guys wanna address at another time.
Perfect.
We'll bring it to you, a lot of the capital non-recurring stuff, we try to bring to you shovel ready, so that you approve it and it gets going right
It's
away.
like the other stuff we've been doing,
Yes.
right?
Alright, so what we
I
will
make a
do,
motion, or maybe there's a motion to
we will,
remove the salt thing for 15 grand.
And I second it.
Thank you.
would you repeat that motion?
I make a motion to eliminate the $50,000 for the salt storage building.
We already had a motion on the floor to approve.
Oh,
We
then
got-
I
we have
amend
to-
it. I'm amending it.
That's an amendment.
It's an amendment.
All right, very good.
I'd like to
All right,
amend.
so,
I got the amendment.
Thank
let us
you.
go over her amended motion to eliminate salt
And
storage
Tim
building
seconded.
repairs for 50,000. Any questions or comments on that? All right, all those in favor of removing it at this point in time, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Brad, please remind us. All right, the next is gym shelter locker rooms at 1,500,000.
I make a motion?
Second.
Okay, we're gonna open up on discussion on the gym shelter locker rooms, and we have all the designs here.
Can I make a comment
Yes.
during before you discuss? Make a recommendation? Based on your concerns in the past two meetings and, my researching it with the architects, I would like to remove it from the capital plan, but to keep about 75,000 so we can get mechanical engineering, electrical engineering drawings, and be ready and work with public site and building to get complete plans that will be ready so that we can come back next year or come back at another time to you with firm numbers on the cost and firm numbers of what's happening in there, and then go from there.
Okay, discussion.
I understand what you're saying, but I think you're still getting a little ahead of ourselves on it. I think it should be the building and site committee coming up with with almost like not doing engineered plans for any of that stuff. I think it should be more like, what's the space needs study type thing.
Well, yeah,
That's what I would be more comfortable with, but
you still need money to do that.
I know, but I don't know $75,000.
Wait, well,
There's nothing left over. Let me back up just a little bit. I know originally it was, if I remember, it was $50,000 that we approved 2 years ago. I don't think it was last year. I think it was
Two or three.
It was at least 2 years ago. Now that money has been spent, correct?
Not all of it,
Not
yet.
all of it. How much is left?
I'm pulling it up now. So you guys approved or the town people approved in 2015, $50,000.
Okay.
Right now, there's 10,600 left. There's
So
a
we
$2,000 or
used-
$3,000 bill.
I'm
that-
sorry.
No, there's a couple $1,000 bill that's waiting on Doug's sign off to get paid.
Okay.
So you're looking at about 8,000 left from that.
So.
Plus, I don't know if there's any other bills
Okay,
outstanding.
so 42, and so we're well over $100,000 just doing a space needs thing, so now I'm really getting, a little nervous on this.
If I might remind the board that you allocated, and this might go back before you were on, but you allocated $80,000 to do the study to do all the work on the police station. And that was, same thing, I mean, you don't come away from that with the engineering drawings, what you come away with is an evaluation and the renderings, and then you're gonna spend a couple $100,000 doing the actual engineering and design. So this number that Eileen just gave you is from the architect, and that is an estimate on what it's gonna cost to do a full structural evaluation and an evaluation of the space and utilization of the space, and then come back with a recommendation for the Public Site Building Committee. So I would support this request 100%.
Okay, Brian, let me have to Tim's point, would you be more at ease if the public buildings requested that 75?
I just gotta.
Well, that has to come through the board of
It goes
selectmen
to the board
anyway.
of selectmen anyway.
But John Menti and I already spoke about that this morning, and yeah, they're,
Oh, he's cool with it?
yes, they're
Okay,
100%.
because I spoke to him the other night, and he said that he would rather have it come through him, so you spoke to him, and this is the amount that he gave you.
Yes.
Okay, Brian.
I just want to say that I appreciate the fact that she listened to our concerns and she's willing to, go on with the study, and I think, it's a fairly reasonable request. I'm still gonna be honest with you, I'm very concerned with this project reaching 1.5 million. I'm being completely honest all in favor of going forward with the study, seeing what we can do, but I just like to be economical in what we're doing. Skylights, things like that aren't necessary. We need a structurally sound bathroom, an area that people could use. So she has my support on the 75,000.
Okay, anyone else? Gary? Anyone else? All right, what we are doing is we're going to table the 1.5 million. We've already got that open, so we're going to remove it. We're gonna remove that.
You're gonna amend it to 75.
Oh, that's right, we're gonna do.
All right, but we have to vote down the,
You don't even have to vote it down. All you have to do is put a motion on the floor to amend it to 75,000 and you're done.
Motion to amend.
1.5.
The $1.5 million, fiscal year 2016, 2017 for men's, women's locker rooms and bathrooms to 75,000.
Second.
All right, we have an amended motion at 75,000. Any discussion on that?
Now, will this go from here, okay, once, if it gets approved by the taxpayers, where does it move from here? Does it stay in Park and Rec, does it go to Board of Selectmen, or does it go to Building and Site
We'll
Committee?
go to the Board of Selectmen will vote it to Building and Site Committee, and then they can work directly with the architects and with Eileen.
Okay, so she'll still be part of it, correct?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She doesn't have enough meetings to go to it.
All right, that was just, why it was a discussion, I just wanted to see how it should went.
Procedurally, wouldn't we reduce it to 75,000? We wouldn't take it out, would we not do that? I'd amend the motion to reduce this amount by 1,425,000. I don't know.
At 6 and 1.5, it doesn't
matter.
matter.
No, you're good either way.
Very good.
All right, so we have the motion on the amended motion on the floor to approve this at $75,000. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed? So moved. All right, enforceable entry training door at $7,200.
Make a motion.
Second.
All right, let's open up discussion on the forcible entry training door at $7,200. It was my,
I move to reduce that to 0 in the capital
Yeah.
budget.
Second.
That's
We're
an
here with the forcible entry training.
okay, and your theory?
My theory is it should belong in capital non-recurring.
Correct. All right, we have a motion, an amended motion to reduce that to 0, put it on the capital non-recurring. We have a second. All those in favor of taking that out, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Fire marshal vehicle at $35,000.
Make a motion. Second.
All right, let's open up for discussion on the fire marshal vehicle. Any discussion, comment?
Does that price include all your lights and everything?
Yeah, we priced out a couple of, either the Equinox or the police interceptor. We'll probably go towards the interceptor, and that's more than enough for the vehicle and the lighting and the radios and the console and all those extras. Yeah.
So you're pretty sure you're gonna go with the interceptor?
Yeah.
As opposed to,
because Timmy wants to streamline the fleet too, so.
what about an
Well, I think the
Explorer?
interceptor is nice with
Well, no, I mean,
Okay, all right.
absolutely. For the price, I mean,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said, Tom.
no, I said we're leaning towards the police interceptor SUV type. vehicle.
Okay, cool. No, that's.
Because
like
it'll
you
be
said,
similar to,
Yeah,
obviously,
absolutely.
it'll be what we're used to working on and maintaining.
As opposed to an Explorer?
No.
No.
No, well, I don't.
It's
they
a
call-
combination.
It's the,
They don't make the Explorer.
They don't make the
police-
Explorer.
The police, to get the state bid, you get
Yeah.
a police interceptor.
it's state bid.
It's roughly like
Yeah.
And it'll probably be less
29,000
than that.
plus all your lights and everything.
Right, so it'll be comparable to what probably less than what they pay total for all the lighting and everything else.
Tom, this is under, the fire department or emergency management?
Emergency management.
Yeah, emergency management, fire marshal.
Okay.
Not the fire department.
Is there a
It does all
reason,
three.
I know, is there a reason why that shouldn't be in the operating budget and/or we could put it under capital line reoccurring.
Well, the recommendation from the comptroller was to pull it out as a, it was
We've
originally
only
put
had,
as
monthly payment
Yeah.
for a vehicle in the budget.
You're just trying to pay it one shot.
That's right.
I understand.
And I think you can put that to their capital.
That's what I'm thinking about, putting it to the cap, not
Yeah.
reoccurring, zeroing it out.
Yep.
And just, and if we have it, which I think we will, it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
So, that's what I.
Well, between the 2 years, you certainly should have plenty of money.
Exactly.
Okay. And firm cost is 35,000?
Yeah, that would be, it'll probably be around 32, 33 total. But
Yeah, you just wanna have a little buffer.
You're pleased with that? Okay. We wanna keep him happy. All right, what we'll
Painted
do.
with everything else, right?
Well, it'll come, yeah.
The basic color, like black or red or whatever color they.
I mean, quite, like, town stuff should look the same, should be the same, or damn near close to the same.
You have fire marshal on your car now?
I'm sorry?
Do you have fire marshal pin on your car now?
No.
Should.
He has it on, is it on the front?
Yeah, I mean, there's like a license plate and stuff.
Are you gonna use it also for, as a chief?
Well, yeah, it's a 24/7 car. I mean, it's, yeah.
So you might as well put.
All he does is change hats when he goes from call to call to call. All right, so what, we can have an amended motion to reduce that to zero?
You gonna zero that out?
All right, you have a question though?
No, I have no questions right now.
Okay.
Does it come with a snowplow?
That's
all I wanted to know. Yes, I'm amending the motion to remove the fire marshal vehicle from the capital here. And with a note from Brad to remind us.
Do I have a second?
Sorry, please remind me.
All right, all those in favor of removing that and possibly transferring that to capital non-recurring, and we're gonna reduce this by 35,000, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. All right, question. Brad, how much do we have so far under the capital account?
So far, if you approved everything, the highest you'd be at 1.5, 1.48, but what you've approved is less,
And what was your goal, Brian?
Less than
Under 1.8.
Okay, good. All right, let's
So right
move on.
Right now, you've approved 1.3.
Okay. All right, let us move on to the
Handguns.
handguns, 6-hour handguns.
I was gonna make a
Yeah.
motion to remove that.
Second.
Capital.
Okay, so what we will do, okay, we have a motion on the floor, if someone seconded it, okay, to remove the $12,000 from the capital account and put it
Bruce,
Nowhere, you can't.
I'm sorry, but you have to make the motion first.
That's.
Yeah.
And then if you want to amend it, then
Excellent,
I'm
okay,
sorry.
let's have the motion for the 12,000. Tim?
I make
Can
the
I-
motion.
May I just make a recommendation? It was working really nice last night when Tim just
Yeah.
started out making the motion. You know,
That's
he
why I
just,
tried to do it that way.
yeah, it flowed nice, so.
All right, we want to keep the flow, okay? Tim?
Yes.
Keep
I'm
it
just gonna say I
flowing,
make the
Tim.
motion because you just said
All
the
right,
motion.
second?
Second.
Okay, let's open up the discussion on the handguns, okay? No discussion, we're gonna have it amended?
I'd like to amend it to make it zero and move it over to the capital non-recurring account.
Second.
Okay, now, we have an amended motion for the 12,000 to be removed and zero that out and to move it over. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. Siding and book drop repairs of 11,640.
Make the motion?
Second.
Okay, let's open up the discussion on siding and book drop repairs at 11,640. That was,
We never
I didn't
got,
have that.
we never got any information from the library board or anything, so I really don't know anything about it. Now, Hardy Plank, I know what Hardy Plank is, it's somewhat indestructible, it's a siding, it's made out of fiber cement.
No.
So to say that it was scratched, where I saw it somewhere, and I've been handed so many papers in the last 3 days.
It was over, I know I saw that too. We talked about the paint, right here, okay?
Yeah, maybe it's.
It was replace hardy plank siding, and it was 11. And that was the amount, but your comment was, why not just paint it? But now I see it is book drop repairs as well.
But is that the same area, the siding and the book drop?
I don't think so. I think the siding is in the front, and the book drop, in the front of the building on the street side, and the book drop is where the ice filled up was. In the front by the entrance, okay? That was an architectural problem.
But it's not the book drop, they're replacing the pavers going up to the book drop. We're not making.
Right, it's not like someone.
It's not like we're doing anything, what they're basically saying is there's a problem with the walkway going up.
That's unhelpful.
They're asking to replace the pavers.
Well, they told.
No, they combined it, it says replace hardy plank siding.
Yeah.
And the
And
pavers
pavers
were the book drop, so they wanna do the siding and the walkway, they just put it all in one
Together.
stick.
What I would say, if you want firmer quotes, like we did with, you
Yeah.
remember the pans you had to put on the second floor
Yeah.
for water? Have them go out, get quotes, find out exactly what it's gonna cost them, and then, reserve it at this point to a CNR, and you can do that in the summertime.
Okay.
Now, let's just, yeah, this is, nobody really, nobody presented that to us, you know, so. we have no clue what it is.
They did, they said there was a problem with the roof.
There was a
Right,
roof.
there's also
Yeah.
a water problem.
Coming down.
But as, you know what I mean, that's there.
What they're doing, they're putting two into one here. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I
would say just get.
Sorry, could I have a motion on that, amended motion, please, Bill?
Motion to remove 11,640.
Second.
All right, we have an amended motion to remove that 11,640. Any discussion on the amended motion? All right, all those in favor of removing that, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. All right, storm windows.
Where?
These are the.
Are this on the library?
That you handed me last night?
Yeah.
For capital non-recurring.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, but see, okay, Tim?
I make that a motion.
Okay, Bill?
Sorry, second.
Okay, let's open for discussion on storm windows. I had put that into the capital non-recurring as something that I felt that could go in there. And there was the other one that we're gonna get to next. The storm windows, do we have an idea? These are on the front side, correct?
No,
On the old
house.
the old
That's
building.
right, the Sealy house, which is in the front side of the building.
Including the
Yeah.
basement.
Okay.
The original house. Why don't you just do the storm windows and the basement windows together?
Yeah.
And just remove them to capital non-recurring. And then the one below that, the two trees, just take those off completely. We'll find a way to replace the trees, you know.
That was my
Excellent,
thought.
okay, now, let us amend the motion, please, Bill.
Okay, motion to, remove 10,550, for storm windows, 1,485 for basement windows, and, 2,000 for two trees, from the, capital request.
You have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on removing the last three items of the capital budget?
The only thing I would suggest is the storm windows and basement windows get moved to capital non-recurring.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just. for the
And
record.
eliminate the trees altogether.
We'll figure out the trees.
Okay. All those in favor of this last motion, please signify by saying aye. Opposed? So moved. All right, now, we have a total.
Wait,
Whoa,
you got
senior center.
senior center and the papers, for Greenwood Avenue. Those are the last two items.
The carpeting in the senior center.
No, it never.
It's actually, yeah, senior center's flooring, because it.
All right, we were going by your list here.
Yeah.
It's over here, okay.
I've got it right here for 12.5.
Okay, the senior center,
We just hold on one second, I wanna make some notes here, so I have them.
okay, we're gonna give Tim a minute here.
Yeah, hold on, I'm looking at 10 different papers here. So we're gonna get more clarification on the hardy plank pavers, okay.
Yeah, we'll get quotes and we'll give it to you.
She has them.
Yeah, I'm sure she does.
And if we do, was that an idea that we're reserving that in capital now? Okay. Okay, thank you.
All right, the next one is the senior center carpeting.
So, make that motion?
Second.
All right, open up on the senior center carpeting, cost was $12,468. Any comments or questions?
I hope it's the next question.
Well, it's flooring in other areas too, it's the whole.
I would like to see that move to capital.
Okay, we have an amended motion, Bill.
Yes, I move to remove 12,500 for senior center flooring from the 2016-2017 capital request.
Second.
All right, any discussion on that?
Can I just find out, how much have we moved to capital, non-reoccurring, and make sure that we have enough to cover it? We have 2 years, we have 500,000, but
Yeah.
we moved a couple big,
450.
yeah, we moved a couple big ticket items, so let's just back it.
Right now, you've moved 250,000 to be considered at a later date. The nice thing with the capital non-recurring, we bring you actual quotes usually to the dollar. So, and these are usually more estimates. So like Tommy's truck, if they comes in at 32, it'll be 32,193. You guys approve it for the actual amount, and it's cleaner.
And do we have anything that was proved prior to me being here that we still have floating in the capital, non-reoccurring, that may be coming up?
The only thing that you guys, the board has done is the YMCA retaining wall, which Bob and Matt are gonna go out and get LoSiP money. We just haven't yet. They've gotten the approval to do it. We had to wait for all the bills to come in. We can't really take it out of there until it has a new home.
So we're at 250.
You're at 225 for 15-16, and if the budget gets approved as is, you have another 225 coming in.
We had some left over from last year.
It was like 12,000.
Plus there's a little.
I just wanted to make sure.
Oh, yeah, no,
And by the way, LoSiP is not a approval type thing, all you have to do is prove, the expenditure and you get it, you just.
All right, any other questions on that?
I just want, did we take
Yes.
the Parks and Rec and put that in capital non-reoccurring too, your study?
No, not the study.
No,
The other thing is the
Oh,
fences
no,
and
yes,
stuff.
that's gonna be,
That's
that's
stated
gonna
in
be.
capital.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, yeah, 75 down.
Okay, so we've moved the carpeting. We're gonna vote on moving the carpeting right now, on the amended motion, and zero that out. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? So moved. The last item we have here is the Greenwood Avenue walkway repairs at $115,000.
Make that motion?
I'll second.
Okay, let's open for discussion on the streetscape reset at $115,000. Any questions or comments?
I know we talked about it a little bit last night, but quite frankly, I was starting to get a little tired, so I don't really remember where we ended up. It was, we're lifting everything up and resetting everything.
Right, and making
them
areas,
accessible,
making
so,
them, yeah.
and we have a pretty firm quote on that, correct? Okay, I think those were the questions I had. Obviously, there's definitely some issues down there. What's that?
Here's the quote.
Who's it?
Exterior design?
Okay.
Exterior design.
Is that modifying some of the areas for, like, yeah?
That's what?
Is that
Making them-
modifying some of the areas?
Okay.
Wide by the.
That is a quote, but that will go out to bid, am I correct or not?
Yeah.
Okay, it'll go out to bid, okay.
Absolutely.
All right, so you had a quote of 115. Okay, now, let me ask, without this, how much is in the capital?
So far, you guys have approved 1,323,000 even.
This would bring it up to 1,438,000 if we approve.
It'll bring it to what?
1,438,000.
Actually pretty
Still
low.
only one.
Okay,
My take on it, and we're at discussion still, correct?
we're still in discussion at 115,000.
My thing is, it's a lawsuit waiting to happen if we don't do it. Okay, I mean, like I said, it's just in front of my, like, I always use Driscoll's office, it's just between this the lights, and the telephone pole and the walkway, I kid you, I don't think you can put your carriage through there.
It's like a food.
True.
But I'm sure there's a lot of other places in town that are like that too.
Well-
So obviously, well, a few
No,
places.
I agree with you 100%.
But those things are gonna be taken care of, correct?
Should have buried the wires 15 years ago.
Oh, I know. Just, so, I
Alright, so,
guess it's cheap insurance in my book.
This fits my idea of capital expense.
And how old now is Streetscape? It's gotta be going on 20 years.
It is, it's about, it's supposed to.
It's like 25.
Yeah, it's over 20?
It's, because I've been the park and rec director for over 18, and it was done before when I was a rec supervisor.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean,
So
I
it
did it
was,
when I
it's almost
when
45.
John to get in business with, well, no. I was-
Yeah, it's John Field.
So it's probably closer to 25.
25, that's what I
So
said.
you're talking about
I know.
96?
Yeah.
95, 96. Yeah.
Yeah, that was when it first started.
alright,
I have
Cynthia,
a question. So these Greenwood Avenue walkway repairs, maybe you said it, but where is this located? Are they all around?
It's the whole, it's from Greenwood
Right,
down to, all the way down to get to Famous, PT Barnum,
Oh, okay, so
all the
that-
way back up to the library.
Wherever the
Both sides.
papers are, the papers.
Yeah, and the papers are, yep.
I got you.
alright, and then this will bring us up to even for all the repairs that are needed.
And,
For the street lighting.
and that's just, you're just doing sections, right? That quote wasn't to pull all the papers up. You're just doing the parts that are
Nope.
dangerous.
It's the whole thing, it's taking the pavers off, putting there's new masons stuff, they have up to date, and it shouldn't sink again.
But they're using different pavers or the same?
No, the same pavers.
So, okay, so. it
So
is
we're not paying
repair.
for pavers, it's
So technically, this is
It's a
a
maintenance
reset.
repair.
reset. And some, we may have to
Well, there's
get
gonna
some
be some.
pavers because of widening the areas
Yeah,
that are
there
not,
is some.
right.
Yeah, there's a few that have brick cracked though.
Absolutely, yeah.
And this will bring back the crosswalk at
The whole thing in a different.
No,
Wells Fargo.
for 115,000, they better redo. We do favors in one of my business, and the going rate is between, for brand new, if I was coming to your house to do a patio and a walkway, is basically between $14 and $17 a square foot, depending on what it is, and that's from scratch. So, and that includes all material, all labor. So,
Okay.
and that's kind of a standardized thing. But there's almost just as much work going in and lifting them up. Once you lift them up, you gotta do something with them.
Personally, that's a fantastic price.
You know,
Every single paper up.
I'd have to sit there and think about how big it actually is.
A lot of square feet.
I remember when they were doing it.
Just-
They were cutting all the papers by hand. And we were using wet saws. Forget that. Yeah.
Wow. A lot of work. Alright, any other questions or comments? Alright, we have a motion on the floor of $115,000 for streetscape reset. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Alright, so that brings our total capital budget to $1,438,000, am I
So
correct?
you've got 400,000 more to spend.
On-
Yeah, okay.
It would actually be 362,000. I'm not gonna go against the controller.
$1 million what?
$1,438,000, am I correct, Brad?
You are correct, sir.
Alright, thank you.
I'm gonna say it one more time, 'cause I only got to 1/4.
$1,438,000, which is
Motion
tad
to approve,
shorter than,
motion to approve $1,438,000 for the capital, fiscal year 2016-2017.
Second.
alright, any discussion on approving the total of $1,438,000? Discussion, comments? I think that's a well-done project. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Now,
Let me just, add my compliments to this board. I think you've done an excellent job the last 2 nights. No, it's only 9 o'clock. What do you want to do next month?
I know, well, we've got more things to go over here. We have to determine when our next meeting is and what our next course of action is. Our next course of action will be public hearing,
Your next course of action is public hearing, that's correct.
and that would be done, it has to be done 14
It's gonna be on the
days.
21st,
Pardon me?
March 21st.
We have already set the date.
Well,
I know it's in that week.
yeah, we have selected a date for you to pick.
Alright. Sounds like an ordinance. The public hearing, everyone, let me explain to everyone, at the public hearing, we are all up on the stage at the high school. Everybody is there. We all face the taxpayers. Bob Kozlowski is right there with us to answer any questions. It will be in the high school at what time? 7:30 p.m. The lighting is fixed so we can see, am I correct?
I think so.
Bring your,
Yes, bring your
it's supposed to be working by
Bring a
that.
flashlight and a lawn chair.
Okay. Now, we have a regular meeting scheduled for next Tuesday, the 8th. I think that we could probably forego that. We have no pressing business other than what we've already pressed.
Because if anything, you could meet right after the public, or sometime after the public hearing before the town meeting to adjust whatever, the comments were at the meeting.
Yeah, if you wanted to.
You could.
All right. Would you explain that for everybody once more?
You have the opportunity to meet again after the public hearing.
Yeah, we usually do that at a separate time.
Usually, I have seen boards of finance in years gone by meet immediately after the public hearing. That's only when they're like right out of time, they're on the charter deadline. It's not ideal to do it that way. So if you chose to, you could set a meeting like the day after, 2 days after the public hearing.
The 22nd or the 23rd.
Right.
The town meeting is the 14th. It is April 4th, correct?
April 4th.
Yes.
Can I just ask a question? If we went to the public hearing, all the comments are positive, is it possible just to set the meeting up following it, so we don't have another day, and if it looks like we ran into trouble, we can do just like we did this time, and say we're gonna go into recess and continue it?
What he wants to do is reserve a date right now, is that correct?
No, what I'm saying is if the public comments, which I'm hoping will be fairly positive on this budget, we meet right after that meeting. If it looks like the comments are negative, we can always continue our meeting like we did last night on another date. So, we're not reconvening a whole nother meeting just to say, hey, great job, guys, let's approve this.
Isn't it really a time consideration too? Because if it's not really long.
What time's the meeting only gonna open, Matt?
It depends on
It'll be
who's
3 hours.
fired up.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm on this side, so it's gonna be shorter than.
Then we got a half hour leeway right there.
I won't speak at nauseam.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be a nauseam.
But there would have to be an agenda set.
Yeah, you don't have
And
to.
so if the agenda is set for us to meet, we could cancel it, but then we would have to have 24 hours to set for another agenda. Instead of just setting the agenda for Tuesday night, not that you normally have them the third Tuesday, but you know what I'm saying, it would still be just like a regular Tuesday night meeting, just to meet quickly.
If everybody's there though, they can open the meeting and recess it until the next day.
Yeah,
Yes,
you don't,
That's all.
you don't actually have to deal with this tonight. You've got time to. You can
All right, but
decide.
I'd like to get everybody's theory. I think what Brian is saying, if it is a reasonable amount of time when we're all there to put on the agenda, that we would continue after the public hearing for our business, okay? And get everything done in one night as opposed to coming back the next night. But if we do that, we have to put it in the agenda now.
I'm gonna recommend that you not do that tonight because there's a statutory limit. So you have a public hearing, and then if you're gonna have a notice meeting after that of the body, there's a time limit.
Yeah.
Like you have to give the voters some idea of what time it's gonna start. You can't just say, following a public hearing in undetermined length.
Because they couldn't be there.
That's right,
Yeah.
so don't worry about it, right? Because we can call you and set this up at a later date, we got time to do that.
We have enough problems just getting there, say, for the public hearing. Okay, any other questions, comments?
Public hearing again is the 21st.
21st.
The 21st
At 7:30.
Which is a Monday.
at 7:30 at the high school, okay? Anything else?
Bring your own chairs.
Yeah, the 21st of March, yeah, that's it, okay. Gary, any questions? Anybody else? Motion to adjourn.